Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Who Even Asked podcast. That's right, we have a new name and hopefully you guys think it's as funny as we do. We named it that because we think there's plenty of fitness podcasts out there and no one really even asked us to make this podcast in the first place, as well as the fact that we're going to be answering questions that we get asked most frequently from our clients. Today we discuss a little bit about how abstract PT courses can be from the realities of actually being a PT, as well as protein intake is probably one of the most common questions we get asked as PTs. And we go on to discuss some of the most insane protein shakes Corey and I have whipped up in the past as well. Hope you enjoyed today's episode, guys. Make sure you like and follow as well. Welcome to episode 3. What's news, guys? What have you guys got going on?
You've been filming some videos?
Yeah.
Workout videos?
Yeah.
Not very fun.
This is funny, yeah.
Is it funny?
I think it's funny. It made sense in the context of like when the course would have been written.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't make sense now.
No, and it's not fun. It's not funny now.
It's almost like that content was written during COVID still.
Yeah, well, they have to update.
Like, well, as in, like, people were doing...
Yeah, I was like...
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have to update it every 3 years, apparently.
The course content.
The course content gets updated every 3 years. Yeah. And so for Cert 3 and 4... Well, Cert 3 was fine. Cert 4, they would have updated, I reckon, just in 2020. Because I reckon it... Or 2021. They're going to update it again next year.
So there'll be no Zoom, recording Zoom content.
Way.
Take it out. For context, guys, we didn't really actually explain what we're talking about. Maddie's finishing off the last couple of assignments for her Cert 4. And they're making her record a bunch of Zoom sessions.
Like, literally when you were, like, during COVID and, like, you all had to hop on your laptops at home and, each do a workout.
Did you do Zoom sessions during COVID? Yeah, same.
Zoom, so I hated it. I ran a few one-on-ones, and then I ran Saturday groups. But, like, honestly, Saturday groups were just, like, catch-ups with clients.
Yeah, just have chat.
Have a chat. Because everyone was going crazy.
But this, like, that's real stuff, right? Like, doing these assessments, it's so fake.
Yep.
Like, I'm like, okay, I just need you to literally role play this. And, like, I'm sitting there trying to record this serious video, like, trying not to piss myself laughing.
Yeah.
Or, like, just, like, not be able to have a conversation because it's not normal. It's not natural.
No.
And, like, you're not actually helping that person in that time. Do you know what I mean?
I started doing Zoom in COVID for, like, corporate. Because everyone was keen at the time, like, oh, we need to do something, and they were throwing money and stuff. And it was like week 1, like 28 people rock up into the Zoom. Barely anyone puts their cameras on, which again defeats the purpose. Like, I can't correct form if you're not doing it. I don't even know if you're doing the workout. And then by week 2, week 3, week 4, it's like the slow drop off in how many people are attending, to the point where I'm like, it's just at this point more efficient for me to just pre-record my workout, play that over Zoom for people to do, and then I jump on at the end and be like, oh, any questions? I can answer any questions. Yeah, it's a lazy way of doing it. Because it was no one was putting their cameras on for me to do anything corrective anyway.
Yep.
Anyway, fun time. So hopefully that'll be out of the course content next year when they have to update it, because it's dumb and unnecessary.
It was like put like a self-reflection or like a self-evaluation, and I was like, I hated every part of this. Like, it shouldn't be a part of the thing.
COVID never happens again.
Yeah, I'm like, and there's a reason why people don't do online sessions. Like, they didn't continue it. You know how some things stuck around, like working from home and all that? That's stuck, right? Online workouts is not one of them. Online coaching is the kind of different. But, like, doing a workout through a thing, true. Like, that didn't stick around because it sucks.
Yep.
But anyways, only one more to go.
Yeah, the home stretch.
And then you're done.
And then they'll be like, redo it.
Redo it again. Yeah. The question we wanted to answer, because we've finally renamed the podcast and we want to get into questions and we want to answer some actual questions that are fitness-related questions and health-related questions. And you've probably seen the title, so you know it's called Who Even Asked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We've renamed it.
And the title will probably include what we're going to talk about too. So
exactly.
You already probably know this.
You know this part too.
You knew it was coming.
I didn't even know this.
But the question we get asked, this is probably like number 1 question. Oh, it'd be up there.
It'd be up there.
Frequency-wise.
Top 3, top 5 probably.
Yep. Is how much protein do I need to be consuming? And it seems to be a hot topic, and it definitely, like a lot of things in our industry, comes in and out of fashion, right? As in, like, protein becomes the front runner for everything we're talking about nutrition related, and then we all forget about it, and then it comes up again, we forget about it. It's definitely trending at the moment. Mads just wrote a blog post about it, So do you want to talk about that? And you can take lead on this one, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like there's a little bit of like a variance on either side of what we should be, or the recommended amount is per person, per like how many grams of protein they should be consuming on a daily basis or on an average day. The thing that I put out to all of our clients in our post was 1.6 grams to 2 grams per kilo of your body weight. So, and then I just put a couple of examples in. So if you're a 60 kilo female, you should be anywhere between, it says 96, but say 100 to like 120. But I think one of the things that we also get asked a lot is, well, can I go over that? Like, can I consume more than that? Yeah. And like, yes, protein is one of those things where like you definitely can consume more of, and you should be trying to definitely aim for that higher end of the scale, which is what I also wrote in the post, is like try and get up there, like try and aim for that 2 to even 2.2 would be like sort of my recommendation. But there is such thing as like over consuming protein that can then have other issues on like your gut and digestive health and other parts of the body that can harm. But it's not like if you've set 120 grams to the day, it's like, oh, don't eat 130.
Yeah.
Like,
I looked this up last week actually for Tanya, because she wanted to know if there was a limit that was, you don't want to exceed. Yeah. And so I did a bit of a deep dive in the literature, but there's not a whole lot out there. And anything that does exist is about very specific medical conditions. So it's not general pop. Like, can the general pop have too much? Yeah, probably on a individual basis, maybe, but that's probably due to other factors that are like, do you have any conditions that you need to be making sure that you're not exceeding a certain number? What I did find was more so that what can end up happening again is what you were saying. It can cause potential gut issues if you have too much, in that your just digestion might suffer a little bit at a certain level. But then also there is the fact that if you increase your protein to a high proportion of your total calories, then at a certain point your carbs are too low, right? So we all sort of generally agree that doing like fad diets of like no carbs or no fat is not a good idea in the long run. No. A lot of people are fans of keto, but again, I question how long you can do that for. And so it might work in that you end up reducing your calories significantly when you can't have a whole food group, aka carbs, which is everyone's favorite types of foods. So you'll lose weight, but how long can you do that before you end up going back to carbs?
And that's always going to happen. Like, change is going to come with that, because that's so drastic.
Yeah,
do you know
carbs
what I mean?
are in
like,
everything.
Go to just consuming, never consuming carbs. Like, your body is going to react to that like straight away, because it's something that it's just like developed since like you were born.
And some people do fine. Like, some people do fine on low carbs, but some people suffer. Like, they've done research on runners, and some runners, like in the keto group, were not affected performance-wise, like in their endurance, like long-distance running, we're talking. And then other people, they were horrible. Like their performance just dropped. And then you also got the fact that some people can go keto and their days will feel pretty normal. Others will feel just wrecked, tired, low motivation. Even like proper keto, like you would expect that you would have this horrible breath as well with actual ketosis, because you start breathing out the fat, right? So it's like there's again, I guess.
I never thought about that.
I think it's apparently gross. It's gross.
It's a thing, and it apparently is.
Your breath, which again, I think for everyone else's sake, don't do keto.
That's reason enough not to do it.
For everyone else's sake, it's not a good idea. But from what I read about, again, a balanced diet and being high in protein but still balanced, I think that it was try not to drop below like 100 grams of carbs a day. I think for fats, it's pretty straightforward. Like, we tend to sort of go, 50 grams, covers the basis for absorption of vitamins and minerals and stuff. But you can go a bit lower, you can go a bit higher. But then whatever's left over when you've got the protein in there should be carbs. Like 100 gram minimum generally to be spread across your day so that you have energy to get through your job, get through your workouts, all that sort of stuff.
I mean, that's generally what we do when we give like macronutrient guidelines, is that like we first calculate what we think you need as far as your percentage of your total calories, backwards to the amount of grams we think you need to start with. And then what we really do from there, like person to person, is play around with what works for you as an individual. What we have left to play with is the carbs and the fats and the ratios of those two. And then also, again, dialing in and out, do we want to go the 1.6 end or do we want to go closer to the 2.2 end? And there's benefits of going higher, which is obviously that protein is more satiating, right? So you're going to be less hungry when you have protein as one of the, or if you have a higher protein diet opposed to a lower protein diet. And then it also comes down to like, what's the end result we want from training and nutrition and overall health, which we talked about in episode 1, I think, which is that we do want people to gain and retain muscle mass. And I think if that's what we're trying to do, like, yes, we need to be having enough protein, right?
Yeah, and I guess, I think that was a very good point you made. And around, like, it is satiating, right? So that's the other reason. Like, we don't just do it for the muscle building, because you might not want to build more. You might just want to maintain muscle. Yeah. You might just not want to build muscle at all, but like still the protein is a better source if you're trying to lose weight because of the fact that it's generally more filling. There are obviously some exceptions, and not all carbs are not filling. Like there is a difference between having like a sugary drink, like that's not going to fill you up at all, that's carbs. But then also if you're having like some sort of like oats, rolled oats or something like that, it's pretty filling for a carbohydrate, right? So there's always exceptions, but just as a general rule, like protein foods generally are more filling than carbohydrates and fats. So we sort of go towards that. I think I would like to make one more point on this, which is we're talking about like people that are working out, right? Like those upper limits are probably a bit excessive if you're not training at all. And I think in that situation, the minimum sort of recommended is around body weight. But I still think you go a little bit higher even if you're not training, purely for the fact of keeping fuller for longer. You know, if your goal is weight loss, right?
You're less likely to overeat, like if you're having a high protein diet.
At a bare minimum, no working out, sedentary lifestyle, you still want to be aiming for 1 times your body weight. So, you know, 60 kilos, 60 grams of protein is but anyone that's doing exercises is more. And again, probably there is an upper limit, but it's generally pretty good.
And most of the time, people are going to struggle to really hit that upper limit. Do you know what I mean? Like, most people struggle to be like trying
It's not something you need to worry about. If you've tracked it, you'll realise it's not something you need to worry about going too high.
You're not getting close to hurting yourself.
Good luck. Unless you're on like that raw meat diet or something.
But the other thing I think, like, I like to make comparisons when it comes to like, people like to find and draw the negatives out of things that we're doing that is guiding people towards health, because like we tend to always search for that, right? And I think it's if you're drinking alcohol, right, and part of the organs we're concerned about when it comes to overconsumed protein is kidneys and livers, right? If you're consuming alcohol on the weekend, even just 2 to 3 drinks, I guarantee the amount of damage you're doing to like liver from that alone is going to far exceed what you would have been able to do from a high protein diet.
That's true.
That's the least of your worries. There's probably other things that you're doing.
There's definitely, There's definitely other things you need to worry about. But everyone likes to be like, oh, I don't want to do it because X, Y, and Z. No, people don't want to do it because there's high resistance around eating healthy, right? They're just finding excuses as to why.
Like, tell me how you're getting too much protein. Like, tell me, because I struggle even now.
It is hard. Let's talk protein shakes. We wanted to like... It's definitely something like... I think people think as trainers we like hammer like everyone should be having protein shakes all the time. We don't really push it that much at all.
I can barely stomach protein powders now. Like my stomach changed so much today.
You're getting old. You're getting old, Mads. You're trying to deny it, but it's slowly happening to you.
Well, anyways, I get defeated by like lactose, dairy, everything I know. So I'm all for the vegan protein powders.
I think have you tried hydrolyzed whey yet?
No.
So try that.
What is it?
Hydrolyzed whey. It tends to be a lot less sensitive on your gut.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like as far as a complete source of protein versus vegan proteins, it's a better source of protein because it's a complete source of protein, right?
Wow.
Give it a go. But the other caveat is I think vegan proteins are getting good now because they're doing blends. Whereas like before, when we look at amino acids, right? We want to get all your essential amino acids from your protein powder. And before, they were choosing one type of plant protein. So you'd get pea protein and solely pea protein. You're missing out on a bunch of amino acids, right?
Not a fan of
So to get a fairly balanced and complete protein source from vegan proteins, you need to make sure the protein you're consuming has all the amino acids. And if it does, they'll be telling you it does, because it's something they should be bragging about. And they will be
it's
bragging
very
about.
hard. Like, I guess that formula is quite hard to do right.
No, I honestly think it's like as mixing is like two different types of vegan protein together.
Well, then why isn't it more
Cheap, like it's
Yeah,
just
you're
cost,
looking
right?
for cheap.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cheap and easy
Yeah.
to get.
Like people
fair.
see vegan and across any product line they think healthy, and so it sells regardless, right? Like it sells on the shelf of a supplement store.
No, I'm
It
like,
sells
these
in
guys
Coles
just hike their
regardless.
price up like $20 and just put vegan on it.
Yeah, and it will sell.
Yeah.
On to more like lighthearted, funnier topic of protein. Me and Corey have both been through the phase where I mean, I still consider myself small, but like we were struggling to put on weight, so we had ridiculous mass gaining man shake situations going on. And I think Corey's one's probably the most ridiculous one.
Well, if mine's the most ridiculous, then you should go first. 'Cause
Mine was pretty simple. I just experimented with different things I could add to my protein to up the calories. Rice flour was one of the things that I added.
yeah.
So
How
I
many
really did
calories
that.
per shake were you?
We were quite easily getting to 1,000.
Yeah. And the funny thing about the rice flour is you
How'd you
bought
actually
the
sell it?
rice flour because
Yeah.
you'd been recommended it as a good calorie thing. And then we kind of looked into like, is it actually safe to have it uncooked or like not just in just having a raw?
Blended, yeah.
And it's definitely said no, it's not okay. And then
Yeah.
you still did it anyway.
Yeah.
Like it's meant to be like
you
baking
were-
and stuff, yeah. Like when it gets cooked.
You're supposed to cook it before you consume it, but I don't know what's really like.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
If you're able to stomach 1,000 calories in a shake, I don't think the rice flour's gonna affect you.
Yeah.
Might have been some sort of parasite going in that rice flour.
No, well, that was the worry. But I guess that's
We
like
looked it up,
anything.
didn't we?
Like it's some sort of potentially there could be some bacteria or parasite in there,
Yeah.
but if there was, it would be like a bigger issue because like our food standards in Australia are so good that if there was just randomly these parasites in there that hadn't been caught in like the actual process of like manufacturing, then there's bigger issues out there. Like that shouldn't be an issue.
They're doing a whole product recall.
They should be doing a recall. Yeah. So that was the only thing, I think.
Yeah.
I actually rate like dextrose is a great way of adding calories to any shake. It adds like 200 calories per scoop, and dextrose is just a type of sugar that absorbs really well in water. So that's a good tip, I think, for adding calories.
Yeah.
It's just carbs. But I did at one stage, before I knew of the existence of that, I was experimenting with like adding like olive oil to the shake. Because oil is insanely high in calories, right? It's all fat, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we kind of recommend to people when they're tracking calories to make sure they include the cooking oils they've used, because like if you drizzle it on a pan versus spraying it on a pan, you can add a couple hundred calories quite easily.
Yeah.
And so knowing that, I started adding like oils to my shakes. But the biggest issue with that is even when you use a blender to blend that through, if you don't scull that shake within a minute, it just rises to the top and it's all bubbly on the top.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
I remember those days at Good Life, and we had like cheap came-up blenders that weren't doing a good job already.
Yeah.
We've got this gigantic
How did you clean that?
3-litre industrial blender now that we use.
Dishwasher.
Yeah.
I didn't.
But you know how it gets like that surface?
I think it like maintained a coating of oil. Like,
yeah, that's
the
what I
whole
mean.
time.
Like, there's no way you would have cleaned
no
that
way it's
properly.
coming out.
So, well, there you go. Extra calories.
Extra calories.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else? I think I think frozen fruit's a good one to
You
chuck
were
in
putting
there.
like half a friggin' thing of peanut butter and honey.
Yeah, no, you're right. I
As
was
well.
doing. I don't
Honey.
like peanut butter very much, so I was sort of just. I mean, I didn't like oil either. I was sort of just trying to get that down real quick.
Calories in.
Yeah.
I think honey is a better one than
I love it.
peanut butter in terms of flavour.
Yeah. Personal preference. I don't mind peanut butter.
Oh, I love peanut butter.
All right. I've just never. I don't know. I'm not a big
Do you
Nutella
like,
person
do you
either.
like Vegemite?
Well, I would never put that in a shake if that's
No,
what
but
you're
like, do
asking.
you eat
If it's a slither, yeah, with a little bit of butter, margarine, and then Vegemite, yeah, that tastes pretty good.
Yeah, so I don't
But I don't go out of my way to have toast ever.
Yeah,
I'm not a toast
or
person
or a
either.
sandwich
No.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan of nut spreads in general.
ABC spread. It's the tits.
What
I went
is
through
that?
a phase. So
What
going
is,
back on
hang on,
our
what is
previous,
what is ABC? What?
I think it's
Brazilian
almonds,
cashew.
Yeah.
Cashews are All right, I might try
It's
that.
no, it's actually it's texturally it's weird though.
Yes, because
So many different types of nuts in it.
Yeah, and
Texturally,
then
it
it's like
feels real
wheelies, right?
grainy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's delicious.
But I, when I was going through my early years PTing, I went through all the diet fads to try and before I recommended something, I'd try it just to see what it's like. I didn't need to lose weight, but I tried keto for a while, and one of the things I'd use is one of these ABC spreads and nut spreads and stuff to get my fats up, and then I think at one point I was eating chicken patties with peanut butter on or something. It was a real gross. Wouldn't recommend. Wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know how people do it.
You have to be young. You have to be young to be able to do these dumb. I mean, I think all PTs end up having 8
What's the saying? Is it young, dumb, and
full of bad food? Maddie, this is a G-rated podcast.
Yeah, we're trying to get it
listen
not
to their
explicit.
kids in the car.
Do they? I don't think so.
We hope so. Yeah, should we wrap it up there? I think it's a good.
I guess.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Sorry, guys.
Might even have to crop the last part out.
I'm gonna get banned from Spotify before we even got started.
Moving on, sort of right.
No, we are. We are
we're
right
on
now.
it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's actually live right now.
yeah,
Yeah, this morning.
Well,
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you drop a comment of a question you want answered or a topic you want discussed. Or else we'll just keep making them up and pretending we get asked these questions.
you don't need to tell them that.
we actually do get asked about protein a lot, so I think it's a very relevant one for us as trainers.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any final tidbits for you guys?
Nah. I guess next week, or the next podcast, will be my final one before I go to Bali for a week. So it'll be Yeah, what are you guys going to do without me?
Oh, we filming that.
We should get a guest on.
Yeah, I might not even get an invite back after that.
No,
Honestly,
They might be
just have
so
a
good.
lineup of
Maybe
guests
not.
after you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to be a guest on the podcast, also drop a comment below. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for listening. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, the platforms are on now. Make sure you follow us, give us a like, subscribe, whatever way you can interact with us, it helps. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.